Hello everyone, this is Brianna Rutter from howtoblackhair.com, and for this style I will be teaching you how to do the partial quick weave hairstyle. When doing this hairstyle, you want to make sure to part your hair in desired sections before you apply your weave. Also, for the best look with this style, you want to part your hair in a U-part fashion when you apply your glued hair extensions. So the various materials you will need to do this very hairstyle will be a package of human wefted hair extensions. You will also need hair bonding glue to apply your extensions. You will need hair cutting scissors, a hair comb, a couple of duck bill clips, a few hair ties, and you will also need a flat iron to help blend your hair. You will also need a blow dryer to help dry your glued hair extensions. And lastly, you will need hair conditioner to help remove your extensions from your head. For this style, I will be demonstrating this exact partial quick weave on my mannequin head, simply because applying glue to your hair is best done on straight or slightly wavy hair. So once you have all of your supplies and materials ready, in the next step number 2, I will show you in detail, step by step, how to do your partial quick weave style. Here we are in step number 2 of the partial quick weave hairstyle. In this step, I will be showing you in detail, step by step, how to apply your glued hair extensions onto your hair. So to begin, the very first thing that we are going to do is prepare our section of hair on our mannequin head and then measure out a piece of our wefted hair extensions to begin. So before we begin measuring out a piece of hair extension for our style, you first want to make sure that you have designated an amount of hair that will serve as your leave out. So I will be parting this mannequin head down the middle to complete the look. So I have parted a rectangular section at the very top of the mannequin head. Parting a rectangular section of hair helps best when blending on the sides of the style and also in the back. If you would like a side part, for example, you want to part your rectangle section off center from the middle of your head. So now that I have a hair tie on the top of the mannequin head to preserve for the leave out area, we will begin to part the hair in the back of the head so we can do our look. It's always best to start off in the back of the head and glue your extensions and then work your way up, because you can better control the placement and the amount of hair that you want left out between each extension. So take your comb and you're going to part a U design shape going from the ear to your other ear. So from the ear here, we are going to part with the end of our comb, or you can part with the teeth of your comb, whichever gives you more control. So parting with the teeth of the comb, I make sure to start on one side where my ear is on the mannequin head, and you want to part slightly downward to form a U shape. You want to make sure you're parting about 3 to 4 inches away from your hairline. So if you do decide to wear your hair up into a ponytail, you could blend very well with your extensions and your weave. So just continue working your way along until you reach the other side of the ear. Make sure that you part your part as even as possible, as a straight U line as you can. Because when you apply your glued hair extensions, you want it to lay so perfectly, and you don't want to have random hairs get caught onto your glue as you're gluing your hair. So now that we've parted the section, we're going to grab the rest of the hair and put it up into a ponytail. So just use your comb to help you comb your hair all the way up, because you want to keep any hair away from your U-part section you've just parted. So now this is what your part in the back of your head should look like for your U-part design. So now the next thing to do is to grab your wefted hair extension, and you want to measure along the scalp of your style. You will not be applying the extensions on your scalp with glue, but at this point you just want to apply the weft on your scalp to help guide you to know how long your extension piece needs to be. So from ear to ear, you want to make sure that you're at least about 1/2 inch away from your hairline. Because if you do decide to wear your hair up into a ponytail, you do not want your weft hair extension to begin directly at your hairline, which will show through your style. So make sure all of your hair is down flat, and you're going to take one end of your extension and you're going to place it at least 1/2 inch away from your hairline, and you're going to bring it all the way around to the other side. This is only helping you measure how long your piece needs to be. So once you reach the other side, you're going to make sure that's at least 1/2 inch away from your hairline, and then you're going to use your thumb to hold that marker to where you need to be. Then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut off that amount of hair. Now that you've done that, you're going to measure once again to make sure that your extension piece does not overextend past your hairline. So make sure any hair is combed out of the way so you can see exactly where your extensions will fall. So now that you've made sure that any stray hairs are tucked out of the way, and you've also measured an amount of extension for your part, you want to remeasure for a final time to make sure that your extension does not exceed past your desired section. So starting from ear to ear, you want to take your extension and you want to make sure you're at least 1/2 inch away from your hairline. So you will not go directly all the way onto your hairline. You want to be in 1/2 inch away to make sure that when you do pull your hair up for your ponytail, the extension is disguised. So at least 1/2 inch away, you're going to use that as a marker. And then you're going to measure back around again along your part. So as you can see, this is where the other end of the extension stops here. And that means you've perfectly measured an amount of hair that you need. So now with this section, next we are going to apply our glue and make sure it's sticky to touch before we apply it onto our hair for our style. So now that you've measured out your piece of hair extension that you are going to apply, we are going to use our hair bonding glue to apply the glue onto the weft, and then to use our blow dryer to make sure the glue is sticky to touch. So the type of hair bonding glue that you use is your basic standard hair bonding glue. Because I am using dark colored hair extensions, you want to use the black hair bonding glue. But if you're using light color hair extensions like a light brown hair color or even blonde hair colors or white hair color, you want to use the white hair bonding glue. So now what you want to do is make sure that you open your cap and release any seals so that you can squeeze out a little bit of your hair bonding glue. Then you are going to take your weft extension, and naturally, since this extension folds inward, I'm going to apply the extension on this side so that way it adheres to the hair vest. So now with the hair glue open, you are going to start at one end and apply a little bit of glue just onto the weft and work your way all the way down to the other side. So what I like to do is shake the glue downward to release any air bubbles so that way the glue can come out evenly. Then you're just going to squeeze just a small amount at the very beginning of the extension. And you want to form a line all the way down on your weft. So just squeezing a little bit, you're going to work your way all the way down to cover up the weft of your extension piece. As you are applying your glue, you want to do so in very small increments at a time. You don't want to have a lot of glue because if the glue starts to drip down at this point, that means you're applying way too much onto your extension. Just do so a little bit at a time. You just want to coat the weft. but you don't want to have so much glue that it starts to actually drip off of your weft. So just continue to work in small increments at a time so you could have just enough glue that you need, and also so that you don't drip glue onto your hair itself. So now at this point, you are going to take your blow dryer and you can turn it on the high or medium setting for hot. You want to blow dry this glue and check it occasionally, because once it's tacky or sticky to your touch, then you can apply it onto your hair. So now you're just going to use your finger and you're going to lightly touch the glue. It's not runny or it's not slimy. Only some spots are, and you want to make sure to go over that with your blow dryer. So when I touch all along the glue, it's just a little bit tacky or a little bit sticky. So you're going to blow dry it just a little bit. You want the glue to be about 70% dry, and you want to make sure that when you touch it, it feels sticky. The reason why is because when you apply this sticky weft onto your hair, it will adhere best. But if you put the glue onto the weft and then apply the extension onto your hair, the glue will actually start to run down your extension and your hair. And this is a problem because you only want the glue designated in a specific area. So once again, I'm going to blow dry the hair, and then we can actually apply the extension onto the mannequin head. So now that your glued extension has been prepared, we are going to begin applying it onto our hair. So remember, you want to make sure that when you are applying your extension, you're at least ½ an inch away from your hairline. So if you do decide to put your hair into a ponytail, it will effectively cover up your hair extensions. Also, when you are applying your extensions, you want to make sure that you do not do so directly on your scalp. The reason why is because if you do this, you will make it hard for your hair follicles to effectively grow, which means you will stunt the growth of your hair, and it can also lead to a lot of hair damage by applying glue directly onto your scalp. And also, that's why you want to make sure when you are applying it that you're a few centimeters or so away directly from the roots of your hair. So instead of applying directly on your scalp, you want to have a little bit of room to apply it here in this general area. So with using my comb, this is the effective place you want to apply your extension. You do not want to apply it on your scalp or directly against the roots of your hair. You want to do so just a little bit away from the roots of your hair in that particular space. So now we are going to take one end of our hair extension, and we're going to make sure we're at least ½ an inch away from our hairline. And also, it's going to fall nicely on the other side because we double measure our extensions to make sure it did not extend past our hairline. So just a little bit away from the hairline, about ½ an inch, you are going to apply it onto your hair. Not onto your scalp or right against the roots of your hair, but just a little bit away from the roots of your hair. You're going to press it firmly, and then you're going to do so all the way around. So now, holding both sides on both ends, you're going to firmly press onto your hair. And you're going to do so working your way all the way to the middle as well. So now we're going to finish drying the extension the rest of the way because we only dried about 60 to 70%, just enough so that the glue was sticky to touch. So you're going to take your blow dryer and you're just going to dry along the extension for about 30 seconds to a minute to make sure it's fully dry. So now for your final test of approval to check and make sure that the hair has been dried, you're going to slightly tug on the extension. If the extension does not slide off the hair or down the hair, that means that it has been dried. So now from this point, we are going to move on and we're going to continue to apply extensions in a U-part fashion as we work our way up on your head or either your mannequin head. Now we are near the top of the mannequin head and we have made a lot of progress. I'm over 50 to 70% finished and now I only have a couple of more rows to add for the extensions. So now I'm just going to remove the clips and show you that the same technique has been done to apply the glued in hair extensions. So now I'm moving the hair downward that I have left here and I don't have much left. And this is still the area up top that will be used to actually cover up the rest of the hair extensions. So from this point, you're going to part a U shape from one side all the way around to the other side of your head. You want your rolls to be about 2 to 3 inches apart from one another so that you have a good distance when gluing on your extensions. So now from this point, you're going to make sure everything is neat and part any finishing touches on where you need the areas to be. And then you're going to put the rest of the hair into a ponytail or use your clips to keep it separate. And you're going to measure out a piece of your hair extension to be glued. So now making sure you're at least ½ an inch away from your hairline on both sides, you're going to measure all the way around. And you can measure applying it directly onto the scalp, even though you are not going to be gluing on your scalp. So now you cut off your piece and you're going to remeasure. And if it's applied too closely to your hairline when you remeasure, you want to just snip off any excess extension that you need. So that's perfect. And now we're going to take our glue and we're going to apply it onto the weft. Dry it about 70% of the way until it is sticky to touch, and then apply about a couple of centimeters away from the roots of your hair. So now at this moment, we are going to apply the glue onto our section. So remember, just a little bit of waste from the hairline and a couple of centimeters away from the roots of your hair. You're going to lightly hold with your finger on one end. You're going to bring the extension and lightly press against the hair until you bring yourself all the way around to the other side. Remember, you don't want to press firmly against your scalp. You just want to make sure that the glue adheres to your hair, not your scalp or your skin. So now we're going to blow dry the rest of the way to make sure that it is fully dry. So as you can see here, we're still away from the hairline. But on this side, it doesn't come over as far as what we've hoped for, even though we have double checked to make sure it was long enough. So from this point, what you can do is take your extension once again and measure out a little piece to go over as far as you want, apply a little bit of glue, dry it just a little bit, and then place it in the appropriate section. So now for the last extension piece, since this is about how much hair you want to part, we're going to comb that down and apply our final piece. So now that you've applied your very last extension, you can release the hair that you will use for your leave out, and you can comb it to blend with your look. When doing your partial quick weave hairstyle, you want to make sure to part off a designated area you want to begin working on. And when parting your hair, you have to do so in a U-shaped fashion so that the extensions will lay appropriately and be best for your look. Also, when you are measuring out your extensions, you want to do so from part to part while at the same time remaining about ½ an inch away from your hairline. This will enable your style to look completely natural and also help to cover up any extensions if you wanted to wear your hair up in a ponytail. So when you apply your glue onto your extensions, it has to be sticky to touch, because when you apply the extensions onto your hair, you do not want glue to run down your hair, which could damage your hair in the long run. Also, you want to protect your hair follicles and allow for hair growth to happen by not directly placing the glued extensions onto your scalp or directly at the roots of your hair. You want to do so about a few centimeters away from the root of your hair when applying your extension piece. So as you work your way up in a U-shaped fashion, this will bring you closer to completing your style. And before we finish styling off this look, in the next step, step number 3, I will teach you my tips and methods for achieving a flawless partial quick weave hairstyle. Here we are in step number 3 of the partial quick weave hairstyle. In this step, I will be going over 4 of my best tips and methods for doing a flawless quick weave look. Tip number 1, apply your glued extensions close to the roots of your hair. The reason why this is very, very important when doing your partial quick weave style is because this is the safest place you want to apply your glue. You never want to apply glue directly on your scalp for a couple of reasons, and the main reason is because this leads to hair damage. When you apply glue directly onto your scalp, this blocks your pores from receiving any oxygen, and this stunts the growth of your hair follicles, which leads to hair damage. So when you apply glue directly to your scalp, this causes a lot of discomfort because of the glue itself, and this leads to a lot of damage onto your hair strands. So remember that you always want to apply the glue just a little bit away from the roots of your hair. So the reason why also you do not want to apply the glue directly at the roots is because this is where a lot of breakage can happen. The roots in your scalp are the most important spaces of your hair and for the look of your style. So what you want to do is make sure you go at least a couple of centimeters away from the roots of your hair to apply your extensions. This allows for you to still have a healthy scalp and also for your hair follicles to thrive as you experience hair growth. Tip number 2, estimating your extension piece. So as you part your layer to apply your extension, you of course always want to remain within ½ an inch on both sides of your hairline. When you measure out your extension piece from side to side, you want to snip off where you want it to end. Even though you've measured this piece, you have to go in and remeasure to make sure it falls appropriate to where you would like. In some cases, this might overextend past what you will want. So just trim the extension down to fit appropriately where you would like it to be placed. Also, if the extension piece is too short and it doesn't reach too far over, you can continue to use that piece to apply the extension, and then you can measure out another piece of extension to fit in the place to fit appropriately for your look. Tip number 3, apply when the glue is sticky. So as I've previously stated before, when you have your extension piece, you want to make sure that it is sticky or tacky to touch. The reason why is because as soon as you apply your hair bonding glue, this is a precious moment where glue could slide all the way down the hair strands, on your extensions, and on your real hair. This is a big problem because when it's time to actually take down your style, you have glue everywhere, and this could lead to a lot of tangles and also a lot of times where you would actually have to cut your hair because it's hard to get the glue out. That's why it's urgently and very important to make sure that the glue is only designated in certain areas that you would like. When applying your glue onto an extension piece, make sure to blow dry it until it is sticky to touch. You don't want it completely dry because it needs to adhere to the hair. But once it is a little bit tacky to your touch, you're going to apply the extension just a little bit away from the roots of your hair for your layer. Last but not least, tip number 4, applying your extensions in a U-part fashion. As you are parting your hair to apply your extensions onto your hair, you always want to make sure that your hair is parted in a U-shaped part. This will allow the best versatility and look for your style. The reason why is because naturally our hair works best when our extensions are installed in a U-shaped fashion, so that way we could wear our hair down or wear our hair up. If you were to apply your extensions in a straight line all the way up to the top of your head, this will give you a very awkward look when you want to wear your hair either in a ponytail or just resting down to your shoulders. So by applying your extensions in a U-part fashion, this will give you a very flat ponytail if you ever decide to wear your hair up, and also when you wear your hair down, your hair will look flat and your extensions will look undetectable. So those are 4 of my best tips and methods when achieving a flawless partial quick weave look. In the next step, step number 4, I will show you how I further blend the extensions and the real hair to complete your hairstyle. Welcome to step number 4 of the partial quick weave hairstyle. In this step, I will show you how to further blend your extensions with your real hair. We will begin by working our way from the back up to the top of our head. We will take a layer of our real hair and use our flat iron to straighten out that section. And then you will also trim the hair on your extensions to further blend it with your real hair. This is the moment where you will put the finishing touches on your style. We will go section by section, straightening our real hair and also using our scissors to trim the extensions to better blend with this look. So now what I'm going to do is take my comb and help me to locate the direct back of the mannequin head. So I want to go from the layer that has the real hair on the outer edge up to my first extension that I installed. So from this point, you're going to lift up the hair, and then you're going to place the hair into a ponytail and straighten out your real hair that's left on the edges. If your hair is already straight, you can skip this step. This step is not necessary. But to make sure that this better blends with the extensions and that it lays as flat as possible, I will go through and run the flat iron through the section of the real hair, section by section. So now that my flat iron is heated up, I have combed a section of hair here that I will flat iron. Then you're going to continue to do so over your entire layer. So now you're going to remove your band and comb your layer of extension piece over, and also exposing some real hair that's in between the 2 layers. Keep in mind to make sure that when you are going layer by layer, that you are exposing your real hair if it's necessary for you to blend your real hair better with your extension. If you want to go for more of a wavy look, it's always best to use wavy hair extensions to blend best with your hair. But if your hair is already straight and you would like to go for a more straight look, then use straight hair extensions like what's used here. So even though the hair is already straightened, you can definitely make sure to go over with a pass on your flat iron so that it blends better and feels more smooth to touch. Because I am demonstrating on a mannequin head, it's fine that I take my flat iron and I apply the heat directly onto the hair. But if you are doing this onto your real hair, I suggest that you use some type of heat protectant to spray onto your hair to protect your hair from heat damage. This is definitely not necessary to give you a sleek look with your style, but especially if you have naturally wavy hair, you want to use some type of heat protectant to prevent your hair from becoming damaged. So now as you continue to run your flat iron through sections of your hair, once we have finished doing that process, then we will go in with our scissors and trim off any necessary areas of extension so that it can better blend with our style. So once you finish running your flat iron through your individual sections of hair, you are going to begin to trim the ends of your extensions so it can better match your hair texture or the length of your hair. So when you are putting in your extensions, you may just want to have extra fullness. So what you want to do is go in section by section and cut the ends to where it meets your real hair. You never want to cut your hair to blend your hair with your extensions. That's totally not necessary. So if you only want to add more hair for fullness, go in section by section and trim your extensions to match the length of your real hair. But if you want to do it for length, leave everything as is, but just barely trim off the very bits of your extension so that it can gradually look like your real hair. So for example, I'm going to show you on the side of the mannequin head. So as you can see right here, if I grab this section of hair here, you can see bluntly where the real hair kind of stops somewhere in here, and you can even see it in the beginning. And then you have some extra hair that's left at the bottom. That's two totally different lengths. So what you want to do is take your comb and you want to part out a medium-sized section here on the side and use your clips to keep the rest of the hair out of the way. So now what you want to do is comb the hair outward. Make sure it's nice and even. Slightly downward so you can see the ends of the hair here. You can see where your real hair is, and then you can see the very long parts, and those are the extensions. So what you want to do is take your scissors and lightly trim, cutting at a 45-degree angle, trimming off the little bits of the extension all the way down. So now when you comb the hair downward, it blends a lot better. And you can go back in and clean up more ends as necessary. So you're going to do so on the next side here. Comb the hair outward. Run your fingers down until you meet where your real hair is to the extension. Then you're going to lightly trim downward. So we don't have to do much cutting onto the hair to make sure that it blends in with the extension, because we want to keep the back longer for length, but we want to make sure that closest to the front of the head, it blends better, as you can see here. So now we're going to work on the other side here and do the same thing. Comb the hair downward. And we're going to focus on the front area here where the real hair sticks out from your extensions. So just lightly trim downward to blend the hair with each other. Making sure not to cut your real hair. And then release. So now you want to grab your next section here. And you want to do this in the necessary areas that you need. You don't have to do this all over if you want to keep length in the back. But if you just want fullness, remember to go section by section and trim the extensions to match each layer of your hair. In this step of the partial quick weave hairstyle, I showed you how to further blend your extensions with your real hair. You want to start off in the back of your head and work your way towards the top using your flat iron to further blend your real hair with your extensions, only if that is necessary. Also, if you're going into this style to just have more thickness and volume with your hair, go layer by layer and trim your extensions to match the true length of your hair length. But in both case scenarios, whether you just want added thickness or you want added length, you want to skim along your hairline to trim your extension hair so it can gradually seem to match the length of your real hair. In the next step, step number 5, I will show you the finished results to your partial quick weave hairstyle. Here we are in step number 5, the finished results to your partial quick weave hairstyle. Have fun with your new look. So there you have it, the finished look to your partial quick weave hairstyle. In the next step, step number 6, I will show you how to safely remove your hair extensions. Welcome to step number 6 of the partial quick weave hairstyle. In this step, I will show you how to safely take down and remove your hair extensions. Even though glue is not the best adhesive you want to use when applying your extensions, you could still remove your extensions safely and still have all of your hair intact. So in this step, we will be using hair conditioner, a blow dryer, and a hair comb to aid us as we take down the glued extensions from our hair. So now we are here at the most important moment of this hairstyle, The reason why this part of the style is very important is because this is where you will actually begin taking down your hair extensions. Now, if you actually had your extensions sewn in, it's a little bit more easier because you can just snip off the thread from your style. But since your extensions are glued onto your real hair, you have to be extremely careful when you are removing your hair extensions. This is the part that really scares a lot of people from getting any quick weave styles into their hair because they're scared of what the glue can do to their hair. Now, glue is not the best thing you want to put on your hair for a hairstyle. It's actually the least thing that you want to go after when you're going for a look. But this is an extremely quick style, and that's why this is called a quick weave. And when you're taking out your extensions, you have to practice and be extremely careful at the way you manipulate your hair and use your hair conditioner and heat to remove the glue. So from this moment, what I'm going to do is remove the band from the ponytail, and we're going to work our way from the top of our head on down. Now, usually when you take down some styles, it's best to work your way from the back on up, but because of the way the hair naturally falls, we don't want to keep constantly fighting against each layer of hair, so we'll just gradually work from the top and work our way down. So now I'm just going to remove the band from the back. And I'm going to find the section of real hair that's at the top and put that into a ponytail to keep a section off because I only want to focus on the area that has glue. So now at this moment, what you want to do is take some hair conditioner that you have on hand. The hair conditioner that I have is just a simple, generic, cheap hair conditioner that I use to remove glued extensions. You do not want to use your most valuable product to remove the glue because once you put this on, you're just going to wash it right away. So you just need your very cheap, slippery conditioner to apply onto the glue to help remove your style. So now I'm just going to take this off, and with this little opening, I'm going to use this end to direct me to squeeze exactly where I want the conditioner to go. So now at this moment, you can use your fingers to help to push the conditioner closer to your hair where the glue is. And then once you've worked the conditioner in far enough into your hair, you are going to blow dry along that entire general area. This will warm up the conditioner, which will also help warm up the glue even more so that you can slide your extension right out of your hair. So now that we have the conditioner worked in, you are going to turn your blow dryer on and you are going to thoroughly warm up the area where the conditioner is, which is also where the glue is. So as you can see, taking out this extension is extremely easy to do. You just have a couple of hairs here on where your glue is, and you could just easily take out strands at a time and you can gently slide them out. It comes out very easily. But if ever it's kind of hard and you feel a lot of tension when you're taking your extension off of your hair, all you have to do is apply just a little bit of conditioner and then your strands will slide right out. This should not feel uncomfortable. You should not feel any tension whatsoever. You just need to slightly just pull just a little bit to help slide the hair out. That's why making sure you put your extensions onto your hair with tacky glue is very important, because the tacky glue is only designated for a certain area. If it was wet, it would drip all down your hair. So applying the conditioner exactly where the glue meets your hair is why it's so easy to remove this. And there's not even any glue on the hair here whatsoever because it's still on the extension. So now we're just going to continue to apply heat as we slightly pull on the extension to let it slide off of the hair. So now you're just going to slide the strands off any areas that's still on the hair. And if there's still any tough spots, just apply more hair conditioner and warm up that area, and just slightly, with barely any tension, slide the extension off of your hair. So now that you've removed all of your extension away from the area that you've had your glue, you're going to go in section by section and just gently comb to make sure you don't have any glue left on your hair. And if you do, you can easily work it out of the hair because it's very slippery, and you could just slide it right off of your strands. That was very simple and easy. As you can see, there are no balding spots whatsoever, or no areas where you will see any breakage. So you will continue this technique and just take your hair that's up top, put it into a ponytail, apply your conditioner onto your next layer to remove all of your hair extensions. Taking down your glued-in hair extensions could be the easiest or hardest part of this entire process. The reason why is because any glue on your hair can be pretty scary. But just know that removing glue from your hair could be a very easy thing to do if you do so appropriately. When removing hair bonding glue from your hair, the best thing to do is to apply heat onto the glue, and to also use a slipping agent to slide the glue off of your hair. That's why applying hair conditioner onto the glued section and using a blow dryer to heat up the glue and the hair conditioner is best when removing these extensions. Once you do that, the extensions will slide off of your hair with no problem whatsoever, and you will have very little to no glue left on your strands to comb out of your hair. So thank you for watching the partial quick weave hairstyle. Be sure to check out our videos, blog, and online store at howtoblackhair.com. Thanks for watching.